Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome to my first video. This is my Star Stable character Vivian Wolfley and my start horse Ashblaze. I've wanted to set up a YouTube now for quite a long time with the general idea of sort of starting a little vlogging community of like-minded people. So I've always liked to review all the different parts of the game as it's developed over the years. I've been playing the game myself since 2012, and so I've seen sort of every developmental stage that the game has taken, and it's been great. So the aim of this channel really is to just sort of review all different aspects of the game, everything down to the weekly updates, the new horse breeds, new coat colours, quests, NPCs, areas, and whatever else we could possibly talk about. So I hope you'll join me on this adventure, and I can't wait to get started. So now I've got the boring introduction out the way. The first video I kind of wanted to do was the different areas in Star Stable that I would love to see updated next. I know that the game has been undergoing quite a serious facelift for a number of years, and I know that all the areas that currently haven't been updated probably will be in due course. But this is just my own personal thoughts of where I would like to see done next and the potential I think these areas could have for the future of the game. So, considering the Baroness's racetrack is such a small sort of area, I didn't think it was going to take the team this long to do something with it. This literally looks exactly the same as it did when I first started playing 9 years ago. Even though like the textures are exactly the same, and I am sure they'll come to it one day. And there was actually a point where I thought an update was coming. If I remember rightly, they released some racehorse tack and jockey tack around here, and they sort of used this racetrack as the advertisement for that update. So I thought that was going to be a cryptic way of suggesting that, something was finally going to happen with it, but it still hasn't. And again, that shocks me because it's such a small sort of area that I don't think it'd take them too long to do something with it at all. But I think that could be a really interesting quest line, and maybe that's what they have got in the works somewhere. Sort of regenerating this, finally taking it away from being a building site, because yeah, it'd be pretty cool. This is one of the oldest areas in the game, so it would be nice to finally see something done with it. So next up for me that I'd love to see updated is the Observatory. As you can see here, like those textures are just super old and definitely not to the standard that the rest of the game is sort of getting to. Again, this was one of the first places released in the game, and it's just another one of those little gems that's sort of been a little bit forgotten about. I think if they gave this place a really good update, there's lots of potential for what they could do with it. I know a lot of people who are into astrology, and I think an astrology themed range of like clothes and tack, and maybe even some astrology themed horses from Gary Goldtooth would be a really good sort of add on if they gave this place a facelift. To be fair, I don't really think it'll be a priority for them because Mario wasn't ever really a main NPC, or for lack of use of a better word, that important. But I do think it'll definitely come one day, maybe just not yet. So up next for me is definitely Yolaheim. When this place was released initially, I can't quite remember the year, but for all the hype that was sort of surrounding it, it did really disappoint me. I just find the whole place a little bit sameish, and I think the place has just got so much potential with these lovely, like, castle style walls around them and these turrets to be really nice, and yet these textures on the walls are just really boring and low quality. The floor textures are pretty much the same, and everything just looks the same to me here. I don't tend to spend much time at all here in game. I do definitely think this will be one of the next places to get refurbed because Jorvik Stables got updated not long ago, but I would like to see this place done sooner rather than later. I feel like this could have such a lovely sort of quirky rustic charm to it if it was done right. But yeah, I mean, from here it doesn't look too bad. It looks good, but I just think once you actually get down onto the floor, it's just, for me, it's just boring. And not only the layout of it and the way it looks, I found that so many quest lines were started and released, and none of them were ever followed up on. So I think if they did work on Yolaheim, there's also a lot of loose ends that they'd have to tie up with some quests, or that I'd like them to see tied up. I really thought something super interesting was going to happen with GED, since they had their own shops, and obviously with Yolaheim we've seen the introduction of Miss Drake, who we have seen a little bit, but not that much. And you know, I think even though she's meant to be a villain, she's quite a cool character, and she gives me main character vibes. So I would definitely like to see a lot more done with her and the GED storyline progressed, because you know, that sort of died when Yolaheim was released. We had a few dailies to do and reputation crunching to get done, but then after that, it was nothing really. So yeah, I think Yolaheim should definitely be upgraded within the next year. So the next place I would absolutely love to see an update, probably more than most places, is Cauldron Swamp. Now, obviously, this isn't one of the more important places of the game, but I do certainly think Cauldron Swamp was the place that gave Golden Hills its sort of mysterious and creepy aura, alongside the fact that Pi the Witch was probably one of the first sort of mythical creatures or people that we seen in game. And I think since I do absolutely love all things Halloween, seeing this place upgraded would just be like amazing for me. I probably never ever leave. I just love the spooky Halloweeny vibes this place gives off. But again, as previously seen, the textures on Pie's house, for example, are like super old. Um, and I did hope when Golden Hills was updated that this place would follow, but as sort of stated earlier, it just seems to be another place that was just left behind a little bit. This is a place that, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to see it updated soon, I can't really see it happening anytime soon, because similarly, I can't talk today. Similarly to the Observatory, it's just not really a high priority place. I would love to see Cauldron Swamp sort of involved more in Halloween quests. And I'd definitely like to see a lot more of Pi in the future. I think she's a really cool character, and I'd love to know more about her links to Dark Core. I don't know whether they just linked her to Dark Core because she's a witch and she looked bad, but yeah, this place and Pi in general, again, I think have a lot of potential to sort of bring some more spookiness and mystery to the game. I did really like how part of saving Justin in the game had something to do with Pi. Um, and obviously he was brought here in that cage alongside his horse. But to my knowledge, that was sort of the last time anything to do with Pi or Cauldron Swamp was really mentioned. So I think I'd definitely love to see what the team could do with this area. If anything, just to see how creative they could get with this place and a swamp. So, staying on the topic of Golden Hills and spooky places, Scarecrow Hill is another quite strange, creepy, mysterious place in Golden Hills. Um, this place probably creeps me out a little bit more than Cauldron Swamp does, and I don't really know why. Um, but I think, especially with Halloween quests and stuff, it'd be really great to see something done with this place. I think this bit particularly with the tombstones and the little type of abbey thing, they could do something similar to what they did with Doyle's Abbey here, but a little bit scarier, I guess. I mean, you don't want to petrify the younger players, I get that, but um, yeah, this is just another one of them places in Golden Hills that gives it its quirkiness. And nothing's ever really been done with Scarecrows Hill. I mean, there used to be a race, and I can't quite remember why the race was taken away. The race was pretty fun actually, and we just don't have it anymore. Um, I know we needed a golden apple off the top of that tree up there for something or other, but I haven't done that quest in so long I couldn't remember. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure how much use this place would have in the game with regards to the quests and stuff, but I think with Halloween and stuff, it probably would be worth updating it and, having some new, different type of quests alongside the Galloper Thompson quests. But maybe that's just me being biased because I'm like obsessed with Halloween. So not only is Cape West probably my favourite village in the game, I just think there's so much that could be done with this really lovely little fisherman's village. I just think it's so rustic and cute, and I love these wooden buildings, and I love the earthy autumn tones, and I just think the aesthetic of Cape West matches the rest of the valley perfectly. I just absolutely love this place, and I think it does still actually look really good years and years later. Um, but I think if it looks this good now, then if the team, with how talented they are now, updated it, I just can't even imagine how good it'd look. Um, I think I would like some layout changes um, to the place, the way sort of Steve's, not any drastic layout changes, but the way Steve's has sort of been moved around a little bit. I think I would like to see the same here too. Um, and Also, this path down here, let's see if I survive. Okay, I did. I think a lot could be done here too. I think as it currently stands, it's a little bit bare. There's not much here, and I think they could add like lots of sort of plants and shrubbery, and again make this bit a lot more picturesque with the sort of sea in the background and the lovely blue sky. Um, and again, this dock with all the boats on it. All this blank space here, they could fill it with like loads of different fishing boats and ships and update the stores and just sort of really, really give it that like villagey feel. Like major Game of Thrones vibes. So yeah, this place is definitely up there with a place that I would absolutely love to see updated. The day that update comes, oh, I will be so, so happy. So I think even though Epona is sort of still fairly one of the newer areas, even though it is kind of getting older now, I would kind of like to see a little bit more going on with this place. For me, this part of it just looks a little bit too much like Yolaheim. Um, all the same buildings and textures have been used here. And for this square bit, considering it's supposed to be the main square, the only thing really here is just lots and lots of horses and, a couple of stalls here, but they don't really have that much in them. So not just a facelift, but I think I'd just like to see more quests around here in general, because this was an area where it was opened, and to be fair, there wasn't really that much to do here. I did like this little bit of modernisation to the area. I know that New Hillcrest was in the old Star Stable games and did look very similar to this. This bit for me looks fine. The textures actually look quite crisp and fresh, and yeah, I do really like this bit. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they are the same style as the houses in Silverglade. Um, and I just like the little addition of like a road that cars can drive on and stuff like that. I think the contrast from the sort of newer, modernised houses and this sort of older part of the village is actually quite good. But yeah, I think I'd just like to see, if anything, a bit more done with this place. Really, we haven't really had that much to do here in a while, so it would be nice to have a few new things to do and sort of liven the area up a bit, because there's literally nobody here. And my home stable is Steve's, and I was literally there a couple of seconds ago to take the trailer here, and that was jam packed, and yet here is just absolutely dead. So it's a shame really, but hopefully they can introduce more things around here in the next year or so. So this bit probably still comes under New Hillcrest, but I think these stables especially, again, could have a lot more going on with them. I think with the introduction of the Starshine Ranch, you can definitely see the potential of what they can do with these sort of home stable areas. And this for me is it's just not the greatest place. And I think considering again this is one of the newer places, even before the likes of Fairgrove were updated, um, even Fairgrove is a lot more interesting than this is for me. So I think if they sort of gave this the type of facelift that Starshine Ranch has, I think this could end up being a super, super interesting area that'll become a lot busier. What I do love about this bit is, all this miles and miles of beach that we have in game. But again, for me, it's just empty. Like, there's just nothing here. And what I kind of would like to see done here is what they done with the Thorn Rocks. That like little beachy bit that leads from Doyle's Abbey. They done so much with that, and then pathways just look so much more like full of life and nature, and they just look beautiful. And I think this bit just has a lot of potential. Like I think, they could introduce swimming into some of these little whirlpools here, and they could just have a lot more going on with all this greenery, because I think the game's got enough of like vast rolling fields. So I'd definitely like to see more done with this bit too. So the final part of Epona that I would like to see a little bit more done with is the Mirror Marshes. Now, don't get me wrong, I really do like this area. I think they fit the narrative well of it being a marsh. If I was to come in this area, I would know it was a marsh. But I think I would just like a little bit more done with this place. This is sort of similar to the way I think about Cape West Fishing Village. Though there's nothing overly, urgent that needs to be improved. I think given the talent and creativity that the team have now, I think they could really do some serious, serious work with this place, and they could have it looking like really, really incredible, I think. As much as I do like this place, it just all you can tell that the trees have been copied and pasted, and the reeds have been copied and pasted, and there's just some like quite poor texture in some of the trees. Like a lot of the trees, if not all of them, have got this like line across them. And yeah, like the shape of that is the exact same shape as that. And I know that like a marsh is going to look similar when you're at one in real life, but no two trees would ever really look the same branch wise. With regards to the reeds and stuff, I think this was done well. I think a marsh has to have a lot going on, and they definitely succeeded with that. I like how this bit's sort of quite fragmented and split up, and you've got to go through the water to get to different parts. So they did do well with that bit, but given the way the likes of Tailtop Village and Redwood Point looks, I think more than anything, I'd just be really, really excited to see sort of how far their creativity could stretch with a place like this. So yeah, this is another place that I would highly anticipate getting a bit of a facelift. And again, I'd also like to see a few more sort of quests done here and just a little bit more going on with it, because all we ever really had was the professor, who is in here somewhere with his spiders, and a little bit of archaeology. And other than that, we haven't really had anything. And I think for such a unique area, it's a shame really, because yeah, as I said earlier, we don't. This is the only sort of area of its kind that we've got in the game. We don't really have another area that looks like this. So yeah, this is another place that I think I would definitely love to see get more time and attention put into it by the Star Stable team for sure. So the last place I'm going to discuss is Hidden Dinosaur Valley. Now, Hidden Dinosaur Valley for me isn't the worst area in game, but I think Star Stable definitely let themselves down a lot with this area. Not in the way that it was made. I think the valley itself is beautiful. But I just think, once again, so many quest lines were started here and just sort of died before they even began. And I think that annoyed people a little bit. And I think since they didn't end up doing anything with them quests, the place itself just turned quite boring. Like, there's never really been there's never really been anything to do here. Again, there was just a load of daily quests that we had to do to get admired and whatever, but other than that, there's never been any proper main meaty quests where we've really seen some kind of development with characters or development of the area that sort of give us a reason to want to come back and spend some time here. So a lot of people, I believe, did highly anticipate this area. Sorry, I don't know what on earth is going on here. Did highly anticipate this area, but were also severely let down by it. The one thing that's sort of saving grace for me with Dino Valley at the minute is how sort of interested I am in the quests with the Quarters. I think when this storyline does eventually come out, it will be super interesting. There's just so much mystery surrounding who these people are. We literally seen them for that one brief time when Dino Valley was introduced, and we just haven't seen them since. And I'm hoping that they've been working that hard on getting it right, and that's why it's took so long. But yeah, so for me, that's kind of the main thing with Dino Valley. And I guess, again, there's just a lot more they could do with this. I think the place could really do with a really, really big update, just to make it the really magical, mysterious winter wonderland that it's really capable of being. As I said, I don't mind Dinosaur Valley. There's just not enough for me to do here to warrant me spending all my time here. There's one race, there's a couple of dailies to do at Nick's Stone Grounds camp. But then other than that, other than archaeology, there's nothing to do around here really. So I think it needs to become a lot more sort of player friendly and interactive for people to want to stay here. So I think, as for my first video, yeah, I think I'm near enough done, guys. So I really hope you enjoyed my first video. I think I sort of came into my own a bit more the more I got videoing, so I hope towards the end I wasn't sounding as awkward as I probably sounded when I was first beginning. But yeah, if you watch this video, if it gets any views at all, let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree with me or disagree with me, and what you'd like to see changed. I'm really interested in what other people think about the game, as someone who has played it for a long time. So just a little disclaimer before I go, I'm not trash talking the Star Stable team at all. I'm not trying to create a witch hunt after them. I think everything they've released has been amazing, and I think especially with the older stuff, they did what they did with what they had at the time. The sort of creativity, resource and money they have now, they definitely didn't have back then. So what we are seeing now just probably wasn't doable at all back then. And I respect that a lot, so I'm not trying to criticise them or anything. It is purely opinion, and I don't want anyone to get offended, and I am so thankful for how far they've brought the game in the 10 years that it's been running. So I hope that's okay with everyone, and I'll see you on my next video. Thanks guys, bye!